So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the fallout, not really fallout, I guess that would be an unfair term, that's a bit of a loaded phrase, kind of the outcomes of the Liz Truss talks with Maroš Šefčovič, the ones that were fairly recent. So EU diplomats were briefed that the atmosphere was good and there was much appreciation for the UK hospitality at Chevening House. This was kind of Liz Truss's big play to kind of wow Šefčovič a bit, put out, a decent event, I'm going to say, decent event at the Chevening House. I mean, I would say once you've seen the Palace of Versailles, I don't think much Britain can offer really comes close to that, but we don't know if Šefčovič has actually seen the Palace of Versailles. Probably has. I haven't, but I've only seen pictures. Anyways, the British had clearly gone to considerable trouble to arrange this meeting, says the diplomat. Šefčovič reported his impression that it was a get-to-know-you meeting rather than something designed to create a specific breakthrough. And so it's kind of like a Liz Truss kind of introducing herself to Šefčovič and saying maybe these are kind of my goals and stuff like that. There were meetings between the two chief negotiators and technical meetings on the side. They discussed customs, SPS, state aid, governance. So those are some of the key things there, really. Customs, SPS check, state aid, not so much. And governance, I don't think too much either. The atmosphere was warm, cordial, very friendly, with Liz Truss emphasising publicly and privately that the UK would like to do a deal sooner or later, and she's targeting around the end of March, and we'll talk about that in a separate article. Point being is that evidently, Frost being very bitter and seemingly very bitter anyways, and kind of like combative, whilst Liz Truss, in these kind of meetings has taken a very different approach. But when it came down to the specifics, which is the important thing here, the UK side quickly retreated back to the traditional positions, back to the trenches of, more or less, based on the demands of the UK command paper, says the diplomat. So essentially, she's very nice, very friendly, and then said, look, yeah, let's get rid of the ECJ and that. That's essentially what's happened here. The UK side emphasised the importance of sovereignty, bringing up the role of the ECJ. Article 16 was again mentioned. So Liz Truss kind of, being friendlier than Frost, but also going back to those tired old things. Also want to make a point of, if I see any kind of misogyny in the comments, you will get muted with a swiftness. Don't test me. In particular, Truss demanded that there be no checks on GB origin goods clearly destined for NI end users. And I think, based on some of the stuff I read Frost said initially about like how certain supermarkets only exist in Northern Ireland, therefore like why would their branded products be checked? I mean, these are things like you can get through in discussions, not being like a douche and saying I'm going to unilaterally extend these things. Like, it doesn't make sense. So I think the EU did initially ask for just products to be stamped with to be sold in Northern Ireland only, some sort of like one of those hard removable kind of stamps, which I suppose would help a bit. Not to mention the fact that the UK are meant to provide data from goods flowing in from NI to from Northern Ireland to Ireland, and the UK has still not provided those details. Shock. So that causes huge problems as well, because how do you figure out what's meant to stay in Northern Ireland? Like, it's quite difficult to do when you don't have the data, you don't have those kind of stamps. So it doesn't make sense. The UK side emphasised the importance of sovereignty. Article 16, I mentioned that. There were patient explanations from the EU side as to why some of those could not be achieved, which is good, so they can figure out what can and cannot be done, which is the main thing here. Šefčovič stressed that he had a mandate from the member states and that he was at the edge of the mandate because he's given, the EU have given a lot here in terms of medicines, which they're still, I believe, working on, amongst other kind of lowering of checks. I mean, I think the checks from GB to France are way more excessive than the checks from GB to NI. And that October proposals had gone very far. The view in Brussels is that Truss, she seemed keen to remain strongly engaged on the issue rather than delegating it. The expectation is there will be continued and frequent meetings. Both negotiators will meet again on January 24th. I think the key issue is that she's not going to get anything on the ECJ, and in her heart of hearts, she has to know this. She has to know that she's not going to get anything here. So my guess is, there's two kind of theories here. One is mine and one is someone else's. Adam Payne, I think it was, who had this theory. And we've spoken about this before. So my kind of idea is she's going to drag this out a bit. She's going to get something on agri-foods and medicines, right? And then she's going to leave the ECJ issue for a few months down the line. And in the meantime, Johnson is probably going to go. She has the goal to take over leadership. And then she's going to delegate the issue to someone else. Or option two, she doesn't become Prime Minister, someone else does. She resigns from the role of Brexit Minister, and it's not her problem anymore. She looks like she's done very good. Adam Payne's theory, which he wrote down in Politics Home, I think it was, that Liz Truss is going to be very hardline. She's going to threaten to trigger Article 16, and then she's going to go to the Prime Minister and say, look, we're getting nowhere in negotiations. We have to trigger Article 16. Johnson says no. Liz Truss resigns from the Brexit ministerial position, and looks like a proper hardline Brexiteer. Those are some good theories. Well, I say those. I mean, one of them is mine, so you can't really give it too much credit. But this stuff here around customs, they can get somewhere. SPS checks, they can get somewhere. State aid, maybe. It depends what they want to talk about specifically. But when it comes to the ECJ, that's not going to happen. There's going to be no change there. And continuing to threaten Article 16, you're not going to get anywhere just using empty threats. You just create a toxic situation. So this is kind of the fallout from the situation. The great one, Tony Connolly, very well connected and has a lot of people that he would speak to about this, well sourced as always, and he's tweeting this stuff out for free, which is great. I love it. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.